Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. I tore myself apart over the next few days. The ideas that led to Dr. West's question were clear. Was I getting angry because Mary died as an excuse for dressing up again? After 5 days of early starts, late nights, half-eaten meals, and maybe too much to drink, I leaned against the door of the walk-in closet again. Looking at the clothes racks and shoe racks on the floor and a few bags and hats on the shelf, I closed my eyes and tried to get my thoughts in order. I thought about my wife, Dr. West, and how happy we were together. It was almost scary how we could finish each other's words and understand what the other was thinking. The clothes weren't important, but they were a means to an end. That end is to stay connected with my love of 30 years. Mary. That should answer your question. Yes, Michael, it does, and good job. You knew that question had to be answered first. Now, how far do you want to go with the cross-dressing? Are we talking about full-time jobs where Michael goes missing? You need to set some goals for me so I know what we're working toward. It might look like I'm making you do everything, but I won't until I know what your goals are. No, not full-time or even close to it. It's hard to explain, but I think getting closer to Mary will help me a lot. As will being Michael. What should I do to pass in public? I don't want to be stuck inside when I'm dressed about once or twice every other week. But that doesn't make sense, Michael. I haven't met many people in the TV neighborhood who can easily turn everything on and off. It might work for the odd professional impersonator, but I don't think it's a choice for you. You don't want to go public from your house, so what did you have in mind? I wanted to buy a condo with a separate entrance. I could set it up as a lease to my sister, who goes on a lot of trips. Go ahead and find something that works for you, but make sure you rent it to a distant cousin, not a sister. After that is set up, maybe plan to spend 1 week a month dressed up, finally. But first, I'm going to suggest that you spend at least 1 whole month as a woman to really get the feel for it. You need to find a female character and build her up. Do it over and over again until it's automatic. It will take help for you to keep building that feminine image. I promise it's not just the clothes and makeup. And Michael, it's not something you can do on your own. We were sure I couldn't keep going to the West Coast, so we asked my contact, Gloria, to help. With Gloria's okay, Leanne called her and turned on the speakers so that we could talk to each other from 3 sides. I stayed out of it while she explained what was going on. Gloria asked me a few questions and confirmed what Dr. West had told her before she asked to have some time to think about what we wanted. Leanne recommended that we call her again in a week, which is when the next meeting was planned for. I called agents to start the search for a new home the following week, which was very busy. Going into Leanne's office for our weekly meeting, I stopped in my tracks when I saw Gloria standing next to the doctor. Michael, please come in and close the door. Then I'll explain. Gloria came up with a way to help you and solve her problem 3 days ago. Because of how difficult it is, I asked her to fly in for this meeting to tell you about it herself. I really hope you don't think I broke your trust. I walked over to the coffee tray and gave it a lot of thought. I think of Gloria as a friend, even though I've only known her a short time and she already knows my story, so no, I'm not mad. So what do you think, Gloria? Thanks, Michael. Like you, someone close to me was in a car accident a few months ago. She's worked for me since I first started Crossroads as an expert in hair and makeup and got as close to me as a sibling. Her name is Nancy, and she lost both her legs in the accident. It was very quiet in the room while Gloria seemed to calm down and kept going. The case is still going on, and her lawyers have already turned down a very big out-of-court settlement. They think the final settlement will be a lot. That will take time, and Nancy needs badly to do something to take her mind off things for a while. If you agree, I'll pay for Nancy to come here, find her a place to live, and give her a small stipend weekly. In exchange, she will teach you until you feel completely comfortable going out in public. A lot of questions were going through my mind. I saw Leanne only slightly nod. This idea sounds good. Have you told Nancy about it? No, but I believe she will agree. She's going crazy being stuck in the wheelchair. How old is she? Is she married? She is in her mid-40s and got divorced 10 years ago. She doesn't mind crossdressers. She's worked with me for years at Crossroads, I told you. Why does she still use a wheelchair and not have any prosthetics? The reason is for insurance. They are waiting for the court to make them pay. But for now, they are just playing their usual stall game at every turn. I wouldn't have asked Gloria to come if I didn't think the idea was good. Come with us today, Michael. Great, okay. Talk to Nancy about it, and let me know right away if she agrees, because I'll have to look for a different home that is wheelchair accessible and easy to reach. Then we need to get to the specifics. A couple of very busy weeks later, I bought a house. Not a rental, a private house, and hired a contractor to put in the necessary ramps and grab bars. A few of the doors on the inside were made wider, and I got some simple furniture. I also rented an SUV with a chairlift for a short time. During this time, I dressed up once or twice a week and felt refreshed as I slowly came out of what Dr. West had told me was an almost dangerously depressive state. The weekly meetings continued as she helped me figure out what was going on in my mind. Finally, I brought most of Mary's clothes to the house and did some grocery shopping. After 2 days, Gloria and Nancy showed up. The girl was very pretty and had short, almost white blonde hair with a fringe that fell across her brow that caught the most beautiful blue eyes. It was easy to see that those eyes were sad, but as we shook hands, they held mine tightly. "Hello, Michael. I've heard that we might be able to help each other. I hope that's true." I showed them around the house and took notes based on what they said, things that were important. It could be a changing table with mirrors for makeup and a mirror that could be put on one of the doors and was full length. In the kitchen, Nancy asked for a microwave because the stove was not something she could use. After talking and making plans for a couple of hours, Nancy looked at Gloria and said, "I'm fine with Michael and the way things are set up. I'm sure we will get along here. Let's do it if he feels the same way." Gloria smiled and raised an eyebrow at me. "Nancy is right, so why don't you go home and let's work?" I took Nancy's bags to her room after she left, and then went to a local store that sells used furniture and set up delivery of the desk and a mirror. I put the oven and other things on the list in my SUV and went back to make dinner. I hired a maid service to come into the other house once a week. They thought I was on a cruise for a month while I was back home. They would take care of any issues, and the security service would check on it often. Nancy and I had a quiet dinner together, and even though she pushed the wheelchair, she told me she would call me if she needed any help, which was easy. "Michael, we'll start in the morning, so please dress up and come to breakfast the way you think is right, and we'll go from there." Getting ready took more than an hour. I got up early. I wore a slip that almost reached my knees under the one-piece body shaper, then a white shirt with a high neck, a rust-colored skirt, and black low pumps. I was proud of what I had done, so I followed the smell of coffee and told Nancy good morning. "I need to ask you some things. First, what do I call you? Second, when was the last time you saw a woman dressed like that making breakfast and wearing heels? You need to look comfortable and like you belong no matter what." I sat down and looked at her, then drank the coffee she put in front of me. "To dress well and pass, you need to look like you belong there. You're dressed for work, but you're in a kitchen. Go take off all of your makeup except for the eyebrow pencil and a little color. After that, get dressed in something that fits with what I just said." I wore a simple sweater, pants, and flats when I came back to finish my coffee. "What about Marley? Is it true that your wife is a secret partner in this? You're not trying to bring her back by pretending to be her, so Mary is not a choice. You want to explore your feminine side because it gets you closer to her memory. Am I right?" "Yes, Marley would work because most of the time I only deal with my first initial, M." "That's Marley, then. One more thing before breakfast. I don't think it would be smart for you to always wear Mary's clothes. For these moments when it's just the two of you, it's fine, but day to day would make the effect weaker." I knew right away that Nancy was right, and I said so. "Okay, now find Michael, and let's go to the department store in town. Gloria gave me your sizes, so I know what Marley's are. Please help me look for a basic outfit for her, and then we'll come back here and start again. Do I have to worry about money?" I told her that money wasn't an issue as long as it didn't get out of hand. There had been 4 hours since the last meal, which was eaten in the store's restaurant. I helped her get back to the house and unpacked a lot of stuff, moving Mary's clothes into extra space and taking off the labels and tags before putting our purchases away. Now, choose something that fits a woman making dinner and leave Michael for some time. She wouldn't stop for 5 days, so we didn't leave the house. I helped her with a set of exercises she had to do every morning for an hour. Then I stayed near the bathroom door that was shut in case she had trouble taking a bath. I had to do my makeup and change clothes 2 or 3 times a day, and it went with what I was wearing. Nancy would describe a scene or story like lunch at a nice place, and then criticize me for 10 to 15 minutes. Whenever we stopped, she gave me a book or magazine to read and work on making my voice sound more feminine. She was happy and helpful, and she always showed me where I went wrong and how to fix it for the outfit and the setting. Very often, I got to wear flats, but most of the time, it was heels of different heights, and Nancy gave me tips all the time until I could walk and stand naturally in them. I had to say that I was glad the stairs to the basement had a thick carpet and handrail because she made me go up and down them in high-heeled shoes. "Marley, you won't always have nice flat floors to walk on. Use common sense." By the time I woke up the next morning, it was around 1 a.m. I was awakened by the sounds I was hearing and put on a dressing gown to go outside in the hallway. The noises were coming from Nancy's room, and as I opened the door, I could see her face down under the covers with a pillow around her head. She was trying to block out the sobs that broke my heart. I stood next to the bed for a moment, not sure what to do. Then it hit me. It was clear what was needed. I sat on the edge of the bed, took the pillow off, and pulled her into my arms. "Nancy, let it out. I'm here, and you can have my shoulder." She tried to pull away for a moment, and I was afraid she would be mad that I had intruded on her privacy, but then she just collapsed and the words seemed to pour out from her throat. I did hold her tight, but gently, in my arms. She settled down over time, and I went to the bathroom to get a face cloth and a towel to clean her face. As I held her again, I kept quiet and felt some of the stress leave her body. It was almost a whisper. "Watching you work out in those high heels today, I knew I would never wear them again. It all caught up with me. I'm truly sorry." "You don't need to say sorry. I came in because you made me nervous. I'm going back to my room unless you want a cup of tea or something." "Really, thank you, Michael, for being so kind." The next morning, we didn't talk, but she kissed me on the cheek as I sipped our coffee. "Marley, you're doing great so far, but I don't think you'd be content going public yet. Do I have it right?" Without a doubt, I had come a long way with Nancy's help, but I was afraid of going out for the first time. I was sure she was reading me right. I just said yes. "So, I hope it's okay that we have a friend coming this morning. Don't look so scared, and what day is it?" I had to think about it. Oh my God! Hey, Dr. West." Now it was her turn to nod. "Are you okay with meeting with her here once a week as Marley? I can call and change the plans if it doesn't work out." Leanne told me how nice my dress and makeup looked, and we spent most of the time taking a walk in the garden. I told her what happened the night before and was shocked by how she responded. 2 hurt and lonely people giving each other comfort. I don't see anything wrong with that. Do you think Mary would mind? Mary was a truly kind and caring person, and she would never see something wrong with what took place. Then, Marley, think about this. Would you have wanted or thought Mary would live the rest of her life without needing a friend? Don't answer that right now. Give it some time to simmer. Nancy feels great about how things are going for you, and I'd like to know if you plan to come out as Marley in my office next week. Nancy seemed to speed up the lessons and make them more challenging to a point where I first began to doubt myself. I had thought that in some way becoming Marley would help me calm down while I thought about why she was picking me apart all the time while doing it. After 3 days, the stress was too much for me to handle, and I was losing all that I had learned about myself. During lunch that day, she kept up a stream of remarks. "Marley, you already had breakfast this morning, so why are you making more if you were really hungry? That's not very ladylike." I only looked at her to see if she was kidding, but she wasn't. I put my knife and fork down and got up from the table. After 15 minutes, Michael came back after a quick shower. and I went to the front door of the house. "Marley, are you giving up?" "No. I think I'll get drunk on the way out while I try to figure out where the helpful teacher I was coming to like left and where you came from who has taken her place." Even though I was mad, I had enough sense to know that jumping into a bottle wouldn't fix anything, so I was still nursing the large scotch I had asked for. What had happened? Everything seemed to be going well. Nancy and I had a great relationship because we helped each other, but then everything seemed to break down. My cell phone started buzzing, and I had a hunch who it was. "Michael, this is Gloria. We just talked on the phone for a long time. She's very upset." "I feel the same way, Gloria. I don't understand why she's acting that way." "I love you, Michael, and I'm going to step in because I care about you. You and Nancy are both hurting. Michael, she's scared. But I have never done anything to make her afraid of me or Marley. I treated her with the respect she deserves, and if you must know, I was getting used to having her around. Michael, that's what scared her. She told me she likes both Michael and Marley and that you were so nice to her no matter what you wore." I'll quote her. "A transgender and a cripple, what might that lead to?" "I'm sorry I hurt him, but I had to push him away. I'm leaving because I can't take being hurt any longer. Do you understand, Michael?" I downed all of my drink. "Gloria, I'll keep in touch and see if I can fix things." When I walked into the room, she looked so small, slumped over in her wheelchair in the living room. I got down on my knees next to her chair. "Hi, Nancy. I'm only going to be a crossdresser about 5% of the time. I want to be very good at it during that time. Most of the time, my name is Michael. Your body is not broken. You have the brains and skills to put it to use. You have your beauty, your kindness, and your empathy. To me, that does not describe a cripple. I want to ask you 3 things now. What would you like Marley to wear while she cooks? Could you help her with how her makeup looks? Will you make sure she's ready to go see Dr. West next week?" Her eyes brightened again. "Michael, I have a question for you. Could we have a hard drink together before we begin again?" Yes, we did. Marley came out very well, even if I say so myself. Fully confident in a navy blue power suit, 3-inch heels, and perfectly styled hair and makeup. The voice she used to tell the clerk who she was a bit husky. Michael went back to his house, and Marley only stayed with Nancy for a week or so, once a month. But Michael visited a little more often. This went on for a while, until they confessed their love for each other. They both had been through a lot, but finding each other gave them a new reason to smile. Michael continued to embrace his cross-dressing, finding it a way to keep Mary's memory alive, but also exploring his new self with Nancy. Mary would have been proud of him. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for a lot more content and early access to YouTube videos.